Konata Edwards, CBSSports.com, joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. So 40% of Duke's starting lineup is now with the Charlotte Hornets. I like that.
Yes.
I don't even hate the fact that part of that isn't Cooper Flagg. It would have been great, but you sort of got the mini version of Cooper Flagg in Kon Knueppel. Do you think that was a good way for the Hornets to go at number 4?
I would have preferred Trey Johnson, but I also understand why everybody is very excited. Trey Johnson, it would have taken him at least two or 3 years to fill into an NBA body. Kon Knueppel is NBA ready right now, has the footwork, is going to be a very complimentary piece. This year is going to be about, and we'll talk about it more down the line, Adam, but this year is about figuring out if you have either a number one guy in LaMelo Ball or Brandon Miller. Kon Knueppel is going to help be that litmus test to figure all that out. He's going to be a very, very good pro. The ceiling isn't going to be what everybody seems to think it is, but it's still a very, very, very high floor. And for Charlotte, they need a lot of high floor guys.
All right, I can help out with LaMelo right now. I could tell you right now that he is not that guy, that he is definitely talented and will put up numbers as if he can stay healthy. But this is my opinion of him has not changed from day one, is that he is not a guy that will help you win. They could be a playoff team, and he's not going to stop them from being that. But ultimately, I look at LaMelo Ball as a guy who's like, I would rather have a healthy Lonzo than a healthy LaMelo. Does that make sense to you?
It makes sense in one aspect because, and we talked about Lonzo, and the Cavs just made that deal for him, which was a heist in itself. But I would also tell you, like, I get that. But I also remember the games, and again, granted, a lot of these were in front of empty gyms with no people during the time of COVID. So I understand this, but I saw a LaMelo raise the ceiling on a team that had Gordon Hayward, Terry Rozier, and very little else. So I'm somewhere in the middle of this.
Okay.
I think he's a top 3 on a championship team guy. I'm pretty sure he's not a number 1 guy. But still, if you have enough of those competent pieces, I think you can do a lot of things.
All right, let's just put a pin in that right there, and then we're going to we're eventually going to get to the trade that they have just made. But the rest of that draft, hey, if you can't draft the best player off Montverde, you can draft one of the other best players off Cooper Flagg's high school team. Liam McNeely, who they did not draft, but they traded for. So him, Sion James, Ryan Kalkenbrenner. Like, it doesn't sound like a terrible draft haul for them.
This was an excellent draft. Like, Jeff Peterson cooked. Let's make no mistake here. Sion James, they're comparing him to Lou Dort. If he's anything like Lou Dort, he's going to be the best wing defender since the number 2 pick in Michael Kidd-Gilchrist in Charlotte. That's how good he's going to be. And I would tell you that Liam McNeely, he was the leader of a UConn team that we saw put the fear of God into Florida.
Yes.
Like, we saw that.
Should have won the game. They should have won the game.
Should have won the game.
Yeah.
But everyone's talking about he's not a shooter, he's not this, he's not that. He was the point guard. His numbers are going to be up with NBA spacing and actual other NBA players on the floor. I feel like that's probably one of the biggest deals in the draft. And then we just talked about Knueppel. Kalkbrenner, if he's Diet Brook Lopez, you take that out of the 33rd pick. Like, you take that. You take that. So, I do think he's an NBA player. I just think he's going to be a rotational big. And if he's just that, then you take that with the 34th pick in the draft. And run.
I see him more as tall guy than big guy.
Yes.
But you know what? Diet Brook Lopez, I think it would be better if we said Brook Lopez, zero sugar.
Absolutely. Hey, as someone that just exclusively drinks zero sugar drinks, I am completely for that right now. So I completely agree. You've warmed my heart. Thank you, Adam.
You're right. Colin Sexton in a trade with was it? I don't even know. Utah. That's right. Trading with Utah is always good. I actually like Colin Sexton. I think Colin Sexton could be. You said that Ball could be the third. The top three guy on a great team. I think Sexton, to me, is a better version of that, who doesn't need to be the star, that can be that third option on a top team.
I love the addition of Colin Sexton, especially for a guy that they traded in Yusuf Nurkic, and they got a pick back for that.
Right.
Like, Jeff Peterson has been doing work, Adam. I would tell you that, and there's a theme to this, and I just want to point this part out, is that you're seeing a lot of guys that are an influx of professional guys that are going to work hard. Jeff Peterson has been just beating the idea of Hornets DNA, guys that come in, compete, work. We saw this team just win 19 games and largely look listless. If nothing else, even if this team wins only 25 games, it's going to look different. It's going to look like there's a plan. Last year was clearly an evaluation year, but with a guy like Colin Sexton who just goes into whatever he does with 110%. Remember, that's the same guy that went into 3-on-5 at Alabama and almost won a game.
Yeah.
Scored 40 in that. so you're talking about a guy that is going to continue to go. There's a clip of him actually playing defense this year on Jalen Brunson. And Jalen Brunson, he's guarding him to where Jalen Brunson's halfway in the tunnel and Sexton's still with him. That's the kind of grit and stick-to-itiveness this team has needed for quite a long time. And Jeff Peterson is clearly addressing that. And if you really just look at the roster transformation in the last 2 years, Jeff Peterson has gotten rid of a lot of the pretty boys. Mm-hmm. There was a lot of reputations where this team was unserious, and more important, this locker room was soft. And you see the transformation, and you're going to continue to see this transformation as they're trying to be a more, how would I say this nicely, professional unit.
Look, you need a lot of that. We're going to get to that in a second. Konata Edwards, at Not of the Scribe on Twitter, CBS Sports, is joining us. To that end, you still have Grant Williams and Seth Curry on the roster, yeah?
Grant, yes. Seth is a free agent, and
okay.
When they added Colin Sexton, I think that was the unofficial, hey, Seth, it's okay to go ring chase. I know you spent a year and change with your dad going to, again, ride sharing to work, but we have to start working on something else now.
Gotcha. I like Grant Williams. That to me, he's certainly one of those guys that is a worker, that is takes his job seriously. Has Mark Williams passed his physical yet with Phoenix? I think it was Phoenix, right?
Yes, but it's bated breath. I don't think they're going to rescind this trade. If this trade does not happen, I do not think that this is going to be because of Mark Williams and the physical. I do believe it's going to be something else. Like, Phoenix tried to basically squeeze something else in. And mind you, Phoenix doesn't still realize that Jeff Peterson robbed them.
Right.
He still doesn't realize that. They still don't realize that, which also makes Matt Ishbia Midwest James Dolan, but that's another conversation for another day.
There you go. We don't have to talk about that at all. So what are the Hornets going to do at center? We'll wrap up the conversation about the Hornets here. Do they have a center? I really don't look at Kalkbrenner as a center. I look at him more as a kind of a stretch four. But I could be wrong. What are they going to do at center?
I'm assuming the answer, to quote Dave Gettleman, is not on the roster.
Gotcha.
I believe that there is another move that they're going to make. I don't know what that move is going to look like. It might be former Tar Heel Day'Ron Sharpe. It could be Boston Celtic Luke Cornett, who brings a different skill set than any other center as he stretches the floor. I don't know, but it's going to be very fascinating. It might even be DeAndre Ayton.
I was just going to ask that.
Even though I don't think that's a great idea, because he's basically burned every bridge in every locker room that he's ever been in. So I'm not sure that the answer is really on the roster, but it's also going to be one of those fascinating things where I think they're going to have to move another couple of guys to do it, to get a center on the roster.
Is Boogie Cousins still playing somewhere? Didn't he get thrown out of a game like in Puerto Rico?
He got suspended. Yeah, exactly. He got suspended. Now, Boogie Cousins moves worse laterally than me and you combined.
I don't know, man. I still have pretty good quickness. You haven't seen me.
Exactly.
You haven't seen me do the shuttle.
You can guard the pick and roll better than he can.
No, I can't guard the pick and roll, but I can shuttle back and forth fairly quickly. Konata Edwards, not of the Scribe, is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. So, is LeBron James going to leave L.A.? I mean, I haven't heard him say anything about it, but when I hear Rob Pelinka say that, we're looking for the future and we want to make the best, create the best situation for LeBron, it almost seems like he is paving the way for LeBron to leave.
I feel like we're headed to a mutual breakup. Like he wants to be competitive for a championship and everything else like that. I think we're headed for a mutual breakup, but I just have one question for LeBron. Like, who's trading for you? Like, if you were really going to leave, then opt out. But you're not going to opt out because no one really has money outside of Brooklyn, and that's not a championship situation. So we think about Cleveland. Cleveland would have to move at least 4 guys to trade for him to come home. You would think that like the best opportunity might be Denver, but is Rob Pelinka going to take back Michael Porter Jr. and a whole bunch of poo-poo platter picks? I'm not sure about that. Like, there's a lot of this that doesn't necessarily make sense. So I do think we're headed to a mutually breakup, but I don't think it's going to be this year. It might be next summer. Or barring anything else, we may get a 1 year. Like, it doesn't make sense for the breakup, but I do think we're headed that way.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. I don't know what that means for Bronny. I don't know what it means for J.J. Redick. But the Lakers took a big swing this year, and they missed. Part of that is, they didn't have a great roster. Even with LeBron and Luka, if both were at full health, I'm not sure they had a good enough roster, but that's another story for another time. Let me get to real quick. The Houston Rockets took the same swing that the Phoenix Suns took, that the Brooklyn Nets took by acquiring Kevin Durant.
Yes.
My thought is it only worked for a championship-ready team. It only worked for Golden State. This is nothing against KD. I just don't know if the Rockets are going to win a title, and they've got basically 1 year to do it.
I think this is a better situation than Phoenix, primarily because, as we talked about before, there's no Midwest James Dolan, Matt Ishbia, who's trying to control the entire process. There's none of that going on. And on top of that, when you think about what the Houston Rockets gave up, which is basically nothing, it's Jalen Green, Dylan Brooks, and a bunch of picks that are going to be in the low 20s.
Right.
That's not really requisite compensation for a guy who's still a top 15 player in this league. So I think they did well, and more importantly, they still had enough. They've kept their powder dry enough to where if Giannis decides, I'm done with dealing with Doc, I'm done with Milwaukee, I want to actually go win. The Houston Rockets sneakily have the most assets outside of Oklahoma City to go get this guy. So while we say it's not enough, it can be enough quickly enough because the Houston Rockets have enough assets thanks to Phoenix to where they can go do something and add more to this roster. So while we don't think this roster is enough for right now, I wouldn't be surprised if it becomes enough by February.
All right, final thing as we let Konata Edwards go, at Not of the Scribe on Twitter. Has Club World Cup fever overtaken the city of Charlotte?
Sir, we are a Charlotte FC city first and foremost.
Okay, good. I like that.
And then we are Club World Cup. I had a chance to go get Real Madrid tickets. I missed out because I had to do something else. Like, silly me, I had to work.
Yeah.
But outside of that, it's been an awesome experience pretty much for all this Club World Cup stuff, even though we know it's a blatant money grab, even though it feels gross.
Yeah.
Like it's awfully fun if you get to see it live.
No, then like individual matches have been awesome, right? But the people can't wrap their minds around my point that the entire event is a farce. But individual matches certainly bring a lot of excitement. There wasn't a great showing for Chelsea. It was about 27,000 tickets sold for Chelsea. Who did they play? Palmeiras. Chelsea Palmeiras. Enzo Maresca lost his mind. Like, I can't believe we're having a match here. There's lightning. I'm like, yeah, you know what? We have thunderstorms all over the globe, Enzo. Sorry about that. You caught us in a hot moment, but of course we should have predicted that. June, July in the United States, certainly in the South in the United States, can be a little toasty.
Foresight, Adam. Are you really expecting foresight out of
no.
the FIFA officials?
No, gosh, no. As long as the check clears, that's all they care about. Konata Edwards, my friend, not a the scribe on Twitter. We will do it again soon, but we're not talking again until the Mets win 2 more in a row.
Oh, so basically we're not talking until September is what you're telling me.
Stop. We'll be fine. You heard it here first. All right, man, I'll talk to you later.
Talk to you later.